Hi and welcome to Mark's Machinery Corner. On today's episode we're going to go over the John Deere 325G track loader. This is my favorite machine. It's the newest thing we have and the only nice thing we own. So I want everyone to take care of it and appreciate it as much as I do. If you'll come with me, we'll go into the cab and I'll show you the operating instructions for it. This is a fully climate controlled cab, heat and AC, electric over hydraulic joysticks. First thing we do in the cab is shut the lap bar. We come over to here, we hit the green button once and wait. It's already warmed up, but if it wasn't warmed up, it would have glow plugs going and it would be a countdown on the timer. So hit the green button, let it sit, and then hit it again. Now we're running, and we take the parking brake off. This particular skid loader doesn't have foot pedals. It's all operated on ISO controls. So this control does everything for the bucket. Straight back lifts the bucket up, the boom up. Tilt it away from you to tip the bucket. Tilt it towards you to raise the bucket up. One important thing to remember that I see a lot of people doing wrong is when they go to dump shavings, they don't level the bucket as they go up, and then it dumps on or into the skid loader. In this machine, it's extremely easy to do two functions at once because you literally just pull back and tilt as you go, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, and that levels the bucket as you go up. See how you can see the bottom? And then to drive this machine, everything is in this. You drive it just like a joystick. Forward to go forward, backwards to go backwards, left is left, right is right. An important thing to remember on this is to never use these handles because it'll literally break the windshield. Anytime you open this door, you shut it behind you regardless if you're coming right back in. So the door needs to always be shut. This glass for this door is over $700 just for the glass, and the wind can break it. Anything that breaks it, it's going to be a bad deal. So always shut and latch the door, even if you're just getting out and coming right back in. When you're leave the skid loader, shut it behind you every time. There's two throttles in this. You'll never need to use this past half throttle. This is an 80 horsepower machine, so it's 3 times as much as the Bobcat. It never needs to be past half throttle. The other throttle, and this is the one I actually always use, is a foot throttle. I don't even use this throttle because when you're not using the skid loader, it needs to be at idle. When you shut the skid loader off, it needs to be at idle, and when you turn it on, it needs to be at idle. And because of that, I always just use this throttle right here. And it's just like a gas pedal. But again, this is your throttle, never past half. And before you shut it off, it's got to go to idle. And before you start it, you need to make sure it's an idle too, because otherwise it won't rev up because the computer tells it not to. So that's how you start it and run it. To shut it off is a similar process. You hit off, and if it's been running for a long time, it won't immediately shut off, and that's because it has a turbo timer, so it sends oil to the turbo, and it's got to sit at idle for such amount of time if the turbo's been spinning at a high RPMs. And in which case you would do is you'd watch the time count down there and you'd hit stop again. So before I turn you loose in it, we'll just go over everything again. So you come in it, shut the lap bar, exactly the same as the Bobcat. We hit the green button, we wait. It doesn't need to warm up because it's already warmed up, so we'll hit the green button again. We take it out of park and we operate it. This machine is considerably bigger. It's hard to see the corners, so you need to stay away from everything. Make sure you clear everything by several feet. Don't try and get it too close. And that's about it. It's got a couple lights if you need them in the morning, but they won't shut off automatically, so you need to physically shut the lights off. And then when you go to get out of it, we stop it. Sometimes you have to hit it a second time if it doesn't stop immediately, but you need to wait in between. And then as you exit, only use this latch, never these latches, and shut the door behind you every single time. One more thing I forgot to mention. The bucket has to be all the way down to come in and out, or the door won't open. If it's up at all, the door won't open. Never exit a skid loader underneath the bucket, because if a hydraulic line, a seal, or a valve would ever malfunction, this will come crashing down on you. So yes, there are two ways to get out of the door, with the bucket all the way down or all the way up. Never do it with the bucket all the way up. It's too dangerous. Always do it with the bucket all the way down. If you're driving around with the bucket up, the door won't open. And if this isn't shut and latched, it will tell the skid loader not to run, because it's a safety feature, so that you don't bust the glass.